Hello everyone, I'm Matt of the Tank Engine Society. Over the course of the festival, we received many submissions and resubmissions. Some of the resubmissions only came in after the first few blocks were already prepared.
This special block contains all the content that came in just a little late. Think of it as an added bonus. We hope you enjoy the show.
Can I still bring popcorn?
Sure.
The engines on the island of Sodor are happiest when the sun is shining. During the summer, the sun can often shine too much, making it difficult for the grass to grow and plants to thrive. This summer, it was hotter and drier than ever, placing the island in a terrible drought. Sir Topham had placed a strict limit on the amount of water engines could take on at the water columns. This made work very difficult, and while the engines knew it was for the best, some lost patience. But none more so than James the Red Engine. One day, James was shunting in the yard, pushing and pulling the trucks into place. It was a very warm day, and James was feeling hot and bothered. The trucks were being especially troublesome.
Look! James's cheeks are as red as his boiler! Either he's embarrassed at shunting us so badly, or he's about to burn up!
Oh, shut up!
But the trucks were right. James was about to burn up. When he was finished, he hurried over to the water column for a nice long drink, but his driver could only give him so much.
I'm sorry, old boy, that's all for now. You know full well Sir Topham had wants the column to be in a certain limit.
This made James very cross. He grumbled dreadfully for the rest of the day. He was still fuming in the sheds that night.
How can I work in the heat without more water?
The other engines were tired of hearing James complain and ignored him. The next day, James returned to his shunting. He looked longingly over to the water column, but knew he wouldn't be able to have much. Then, James had an idea. The yard has an incline on the siding. The truck's brakes had to be hard on if they were not being shunted. If the trucks were in the right place and their brakes went off and they began to roll, it would make for a perfect distraction. James told his plan to the trucks. The trucks, always eager to cause trouble, agreed. James asked his driver for a drink. James winked at the trucks as he went over to the water column. As the water started flowing into James's tanks, he gave a sharp toot on his whistle. And the trucks released their brakes, rolling down the hill and into the buffers, making an awful racket. The noise made James's driver jump. The fireman, in his fright, had accidentally let off the brake. James started rolling backwards like the trucks had, only James wasn't heading for a siding. He was heading for the main line. His driver, who had been standing near the tender, looked in horror as James rolled faster.
Oh no!
The points leading into the yard were against James. He hit them with a loud clunk and came off the rails, sticking out in harm's way on the approaching line. James felt very silly indeed. Then they heard something that made their hearts sink. In the distance came the whistle of Henry the Green Engine, who was barreling straight toward them.
Ah! Get out of the way!
But it was nearly too late. Henry screeched on his brakes as he swung around the points, but his buffers caught James's tender, sending cinders, ashes, and coal flying everywhere. Luckily, no one was hurt. Soon, James was taken to the works. Waiting for him there was Sir Topham Hatt.
I tolerate a lot, James, but I will not tolerate greed. We must all make sacrifices, even if it means that we go without something that we need.
Yes, sir.
If it had not been for the quick actions of Henry and the signalman, you might have suffered the same fate as your tender.
This was a sobering thought for the Red Engine. After Sir Topham Hatt left, James decided it was time to consider what his priorities truly were.
How did we get here? Why did things have to end up this way? What would you say to me at a time like this? If only I just could have done something different. I could have stopped this and you'd still... Nothing left to do, but just keep moving. And hope you can do better. Well, there's a surprise. You all came all the way out here just for me? Well, I should give the people what they want. What do you say, boys? Let's party.
One day, Henry was running out of water and struggling up a hill. But a little while later, Edward came along to help Henry to the nearest water tower. And once there, Edward whistled goodbye. Henry began to feel better during his long drink, but the trucks were feeling bored. Let's break away! Their loads were heavy, and the couplings were old. One of them snapped. Faster, faster, screamed the trucks. Further down the line, a sign read slow, steep bends and ravine ahead, but the silly trucks never saw it. Then, disaster struck. By the time Henry arrived, it was too late. His driver looked down at the damage and sighed. This was our fault. We didn't secure the trucks properly. Now we'll have to get a crane. Sir Topham Hatt won't be pleased with this. And indeed he wasn't. Needless to say, Henry, you should be more careful when securing your trucks. You shall practice doing this in the yards until I can trust you again. Gordon can handle your goods work as well as express duties, although I don't think he'll like it. Edward felt sorry for the poor green engine. James, on the other hand, was delighted with Henry's dilemma. Fancy not securing your trucks on the hill, Henry. They'll come back to spook you and your oversized firebox. Wow! And who's to say that you're not afraid of ghosts, James? Who, me? Afraid of those mythical fantasies that people make up on Halloween? Rubbish! Well, I'll tell you a story that'll make your funnel quiver. A long time ago, a little tank engine was returning home. It was a misty, moonlit night. Suddenly, the engine lost control and plunged over the side into the swamps below. He was never found again. But many workmen will tell you that when the moon is full, they've seen the little tank engine try to get home. but he never reached the other side. So what do you think of that, James? Nonsense, Edward. And James puffed importantly away. Don't worry about it, Henry. He'd probably be frightened if he really did see a ghost. This gave Henry's driver and fireman an idea. Let's play a trick on James and see how he likes it. Next day, they discussed the plan to James's driver, who agreed. We'll do it tonight. All day long, James had to take goods from the docks and deliver them to the stations. And once his trucks were unloaded, he took them back to the docks to be loaded again. And all the while, his journeys took him across the old bridge. Haunted bridge. Rubbish. It's as tame as Heavy Hector. I heard that. Shut up! But all the same, he kept thinking about Edward's story. By the time evening rolled around, James had become impatient. If we don't go now, silly little Thomas will take my favorite place in the sheds. We can't leave yet. We have to take these empty trucks back to Brendam first. The driver could see that the plan was working because James looked rather nervous. Nightfall came and they set off. The mists were rising around the dreaded bridge. James whistled and the sound echoed everywhere. Suddenly ahead, he saw some flickering lights. His driver knew they were only fireflies, but to James they looked like an engine. Next, his driver secretly threw a rock from the cab into the ravine below. It's the ghost! Take me back, please! As soon as James reached the safety of the shed, he closed his eyes tightly. Spooked, are you, James? No, I'm asleep, and he refused to open his eyes. He did, though, when he thought no one was looking, just to make sure he was still in his shed.
What the hell happened to it?
No. She's of no use to me now. The former caretaker is dead. His granddaughter's off with her new husband. Probably just all forgot.
But how did she get like this? She looks like utter garbage.
She fell into disrepair over the years. Some people tried to crowdfund and restore her, and they scammed people out of thousands of dollars and didn't fix her at all. Genius! Why didn't I think of that? And they stored her in America, of all places.
Okay, actually, that explains a lot.
How much? Oh, much. She's worthless to me now. I don't want any money, just those weapons you talked about earlier. I will give you the highest quality explosives I can manufacture.
Okay, come on. You can't be serious.
When am I not? This is Charlie, and, well, you might not remember me. My name is Ronaldo Stone, and we're getting you out of here.
Ugh, of course we are.
Hello, my name is Max, or as you would like to call me on my YouTube channel, T&F Fan 99. I want to be able to make more content for YouTube and my channel. So I hope I can start making content soon for everyone to see. and that I'll be able to reach a bigger audience than I do now. It may take some time before I can start making videos, but in the meantime, they will be in the works. But I promise you, you wouldn't want to miss it. So, I hope you all can look at the content that I'm going to produce on my channel and hopefully enjoy it. Thank you.
Boco's blunder. Boco is a diesel engine that helps Edward on the Brandon branch line. Today, Boco was taking a large freight train to Brandon. He was going along the line nicely when... Oh dear. Boco had derailed himself on some trap points. The Fat Controller was on the scene immediately when he heard the news. So, what happened to you, Boco? I don't know, sir. A workman rushed over in a hurry. I was talking to the signalman. He said for some reason the points had been jammed, and he set the signal to danger, but obviously he was too late. I see. Well, Boco, I was speaking to the other workmen, and they said that you are not damaged, so you can continue with your work. Okay, sir. So Boco went back to work. He worked really hard all day, but he had one more delivery to make at Tidmouth Harbour. When he got there, he saw James at the platform ready to leave. James started to laugh. Ha ha, I didn't know you loved going cross country, Boco. Whatever do you mean? I heard you derailed at some trap points. What if I did? You can't say anything. You're an engine who derails all the time. All of those are different, snapped James. I think that proper engines don't go four-wheel driving. And James chuffed swankily away. It was night time when Boco arrived back at Walsworth Sheds. Edward was there. What's got your engine revved up? You know how I had my little accident today? Yes. Well, James thought it was a great joke and said I was going cross-country. Oh, don't listen to him. He's trying to make you feel silly. I want to get back at him, but I don't know how. Don't do anything. That'll just make the situation worse. He'll get what he deserves. Trust me. The next day came and James was ready to pull a passenger train. Look at me, aren't I splendid? Depending on what your definition of splendid is, said Edward sternly. Excuse me, Edward? Well, I heard from a certain engine that you made fun of him last night. Well, Boco shouldn't go over tramp points then. Before Edward could say anything else, James's guard blew his whistle and James rushed off with his train. James started to daydream about what he would say to Boco next. He was that out of focus that he missed a red signal. James rounded the bend and saw that the trap points were set away from the tracks. James skidded and slid towards the points, and with a crunch, James's front wheels were off the track. Soon help arrived, but not in the way James wanted to see. There was Boco, ready to put James back on the tracks. I see you are curious for yourself what cross-country is like, said Boco. James just looked away.
Daisy. The Fat Controller stood on the platform. Percy and Toby watched them anxiously. Here, he said, is Daisy the diesel railcar who has come to help while Thomas is, indisposed. Please, sir, asked Percy. Will she go, sir, when Thomas comes back, sir? That depends, said the Fat Controller. Meanwhile, however long she stays, I hope you will both make her welcome and comfortable. Yes, sir, we'll try, sir, said the engines. Good. Run along now and show her the shed. She will want to rest after her journey. Daisy was hard to please. This is dreadfully smelly, she announced. I'm highly sprung, and anything smelly is bad for my swerves. They tried the carriage shed. This is better, said Daisy. But whatever is that rubbish? The rubbish turned out to be Annie, Clarabelle and Henrietta, who were most offended. We won't stay to be insulted, they fumed. Percy and Toby had to take them away and spend half the night soothing their hurt feelings. Daisy, on the other hand, felt cheerful.
Burnett Stone, do not do anything with my girlfriend, or else there will be hell to pay in 50 years. Yeah, that's the one. Hey, Tasha, wanna make out? Yes.
Hey, I'm Mr. C, Jr., and I'm going to tell you a story about trains, magic, and gold dust, which definitely isn't a metaphor for anything. Here's Thomas. Someone help me, I'm extremely flammable.
I wanna be a controller, head of the whole railroad. This is the part where Lily comes into the story. Lily is a wonderful blonde-haired girl.
Cheap merchandising.
Odge, where's the bull? Well, you see, the wooden railway splatter is harder to find than the wooden railway Dodge, so we didn't have the budget to have it here. But we have this guy. I've got you now, Puffball. I've got to find this windmill. Wait, it's just a sticky note? And this is where I decided to take Lily to Sodor. Hey, cuz. Hello, Mr. Conductor Fan. What? Oh, nothing, it's nothing.
See you later, suckers.
Grandpa, did you like Grandma Tasha? Yes.
Still extremely flammable.
No, I'll get you burnt.
Messenger bag?
Happily ever after. Yay. And now we've come to the happy end of our story. And it's time for all of us to go home. Just like Thomas. But I mean, it's 2020, so we're all home anyway. Oh well.
Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle.
It was an early morning in the narrow gauge transfer yards when Duke pulled in to collect a shipment from the mainland. Just then, Edward arrived with a small engine on his flatbed. "Morning, Edward," chortled Duke. "What brings you down to the transfer yards on this fine day?" "Oh, just stopping for a quick breather," he said. "Us old engines, am I right?" "You got that right," laughed Duke with a smile. "Say, who's that on your flatbed?" "Oh yeah, sorry about that. This is Coldy. He's one of the engines who works up in the mountains." "Wow, a mountain engine!" exclaimed Duke. "I bet you guys could pull 10 times the cars we pull on an average day." Just then, they heard the voice of another engine. 10 times as many cars," said the voice. "Well, I bet he could do all of my work in a few minutes." It was Sir Handel coming down the line with a heavy freight train. "Oh, quit your whining," said Duke. "Other engines do much harder work than you do." "Duke, you old engine. There's no other engine who works as hard as I do. Especially not on this filthy narrow-gauge railway." Duke remained petrified. He couldn't even find the words. "Oh, wow, look at the time," said Edward in a rushed voice. "I better be going." And without another word, Edward puffed quickly away. "Nice meeting you all," said Coldy from his flatbed. Later that night in the sheds, Sir Handel couldn't get out of his head what he had heard Edward and Duke saying. "Oh, wow, a mountain engine? I bet you guys could pull 10 times the amount of cars we pull on an average day." This gave Sir Handel a rather preposterous idea, and with that in mind, he set off for the Sodor steamworks. Later that night, Sir Handel chugged into the steamworks. Victor and Kevin weren't there, so he could do pretty much whatever he wanted. "Psst! Hey you, mountain engine!" "Oh hey, it's, you, Sir Handel, right?" "Shut it," said Sir Handel. "I know how you mountain engines use a lot of parts, and I can see you left some of them on the floor. So I'm gonna give you a choice. You can either come down to the narrow gauge line in a few days and do all my work for me, or I can run over your precious crate of parts." Coldy thought about it for a few minutes. "Okay, Sir Handel," he said with a smirk. "I'll come and play your game." Soon the next day, Sir Handel was waiting impatiently at his shed for Coldy to arrive. "Well, I didn't really expect you to be late. Now come on, I'll show you what you gotta do." Within a few minutes, Coldy was already running around doing all of Sir Handel's work, while Sir Handel got to rest in his shed. Soon the yard manager found out what Sir Handel was up to and put a stop to it. "Sir Handel, you're a very lazy engine. Tomorrow I will be sending Coldy back up to the mountains, and you can do all the work that he already did." Soon Sir Handel came and coupled up to his log car. Just then, Sir Handel had an interesting thought. What if I could get all of my work done at the same time? So Sir Handel scampered back to the yard and had Rheneas couple up the rest of the cargo cars. Soon Sir Handel made it to the spinny bridge, but just then he heard something crack. Sir Handel was stuck on the spinny bridge, and he couldn't move with his heavy load. Suddenly he saw Spencer racing down the line at incredible speed. But Sir Handel couldn't move, he had burst one of his valves. Just then, Coldy coupled up to the train, and he pulled Sir Handel to safety. Later, Coldy and Sir Handel were at the shed talking to one another. "Why did you help me?" asked Sir Handel. "Because," said Coldy, "a good friend wouldn't leave somebody else hanging." And with that, Coldy left.
Thomas and Percy were just chuffing along the track because they are bored and have nothing else better to do. While they were doing absolutely nothing, Thomas and Percy came across something strange. Wow! What's that? What you're looking at, Percy, is a statue that I will be taking to the museum. Oh! Don't touch! How dare you two silly tank engines attempt to touch this lovely statue? This thing is beautiful, and if you touch it, it will be contaminated with tank engine buffers. Gordon, Sir Topham Hatt needs you to pull the express. God dang it! But who will take this lovely statue to the museum? Maybe Thomas and Percy will have to take it. What? We can't take the statue to the museum. It'll be way too heavy for us. That's right. Those two silly tank engines cannot pull anything. Well, you have an express to pull, Gordon. Well, I guess you and Percy will have to guard the statue, so that way later I can take it to the museum. Great idea, even though a few things will be delayed. Still, is that good for you guys? Yeah, sure. Me and Percy can do some guarding. Right, Percy? Oh, yeah, sure. I don't see why guarding a statue could be that hard. That's absolutely perfect! Now, if you excuse me, you silly little tank engines, I have an express to pull! So after Gordon and Oliver left, Percy and Thomas took on the duty to protect the graceful statue. But what they didn't know was that someone was spying on them, plotting something devious.
Those two puffballs have no idea what's going to happen to their graceful statue. Now, what I'm going to do is steal it, take it to the diesel works, and then sell it so us diesels can have some wonderful new diesel fuel. Watch out, puffballs. Devious diesel is coming.
Thomas and Percy were already bored of guarding the statue, so they took the time to start learning some math equations for school.
I can't get it! I don't get it! What does divide mean?
Percy, you blockhead! Divide is the opposite of multiplication, or that's what my teacher told me! Whatever, Percy. You'll get the hang of math someday. Now, let's check on that statue. Percy? Percy, wake up! What? What happened? Did you seriously cry in your sleep?
Yes, you made me feel so ashamed of myself.
Well, get up, because, I think we may be in some trouble right now. Wait, what? What happened? Why don't you check it out for yourself? Wow, what is it? I hope it's chicken nuggets. Oh, crap. Oh, crap is the correct word. Where's the statue? Maybe it's behind here. Maybe it fell down here.
Percy, start helping me look it!
Percy! I think I see it. What? There!
I got the statue. I got the statue. I got the statue.
Hey, stop right there, you criminal scum! After that chase, Diesel was defeated, and Thomas and Percy got the statue back. Let's put the statue back the way how it was. Gordon will be coming soon, and he still has to take it to the museum. Right, come on, let's get to it. And so the statue was put back together just in time. Hello, Gordon is back. Sorry that took me so long, boys. I got some traffic back here because apparently a dead body was found in the shape of a diesel. Oh, that sounds horrifying. Oh well, here's a statue back. Oh, perfect! You guys had it just the way it was. I thought you guys were going to lose it because some devious robber was gonna come to steal it, and you guys would go in an epic chase, and then you guys would end up killing him. Yeah, what a great story, Gordon. Yeah, just take it. Okay then. And Gordon took the statue. Yeah, Thomas? Let's never speak of this. Agreed.
One stormy morning, Arthur pulled into the yard.
I only have 2 jobs today. Shunt these trucks and pull the flying kipper. What? Wait a minute. These trucks are already shunted. Somebody's already done my job. I'll go see if anybody else needs help with their jobs.
Maybe Percy needs help at the...
Whoa! Oh, Winston, Sir Topham Hatt, are you alright? I'm so sorry.
I am absolutely not okay. You just made me spill water on my suit.
It's raining.
Oh, and I just got my face smashed in by a steam locomotive.
Arthur, please get the express coaches ready for Stepney. He's coming to pull the express. Won't that be dangerous for him to do it all by himself in this weather? Nonsense. It's not like he'll blow away or anything.
I'm blowing away!
Stepney will be fine. I need to go check on Kelly. Good luck.
Hello, mate.
Move aside, I'll couple up to my coaches. No, I'm going to help you, Stepney. I'm not going to see you get hurt in the storm. We're going to pull the express together. All right, I'm all for it. Let's go then. And they set off to turn around and collect their passengers. Ahead of them lay Gordon's Hill. It was very difficult to climb, especially in such rainy weather. We can do it. We have plenty of steam. But they were wrong. They slipped down the hill. The rails were too wet. What are we going to do now? Wait for help, I guess. As they waited, the weather worsened.
Okay, I can't sit here any longer. It's been half an hour. I have a plan. Back up and switch onto the middle line. Okay. Right, Arthur, would you like to explain what your plan is? Okay. I've been studying the railway timetables recently.
Should I be impressed by that?
Whatever. I don't really know how to explain this. Just wait and see. I don't like the sound of that. Wait and see.
10.
10 what?
9. 8.
Hey, you're counting.
7.
What are you counting
6,
for? Hey.
5.
Hey, what's going on?
4.
Explain.
3.
Hey, what's going on? Hey,
2.
hey.
Look out!
What
1.
is happening?
Oh.
What are you guys doing on my track? I almost crashed into you. Well, I saw on the schedule that both of our trains are going to Vickerstown, so I figured we could help each other get there. Oh, okay.
And the trio set off to climb Gordon's Hill. It was not easy with the slippery rails and the windy wind. Windy wind? Who wrote this? Hey. Are you sure about this? Working together and struggling against the elements, the trio made it up the hill and down the other side in no time flat. But Arthur knew they were still running behind. Switch points. Again? What? Why? We need another engine to help us go faster. I'm guessing this engine's coming from behind us? Whoa! Welcome, Stanley. We're pulling the express. Oh, what fun! I guess my other job can wait then. And together, the engines puffed onwards as fast as they could. At last, the engines arrived at the final station. Douglas was there to pick up their passengers, and Sir Topham Hatt was there too. Good job, Stepney, and Arthur, and Stanley. Oh, and Percy. Wait, didn't I send one engine for this job? Sorry, sir. Oh, never mind. At least it got done, and I'm very proud of you all. Arthur, you best be going to pull the flying kipper now. Wait, if none of us have any jobs left... Oh, fine. I suppose you can all pull the flying kipper.
Yay!
Hooray!
Yes.
All right. And the four little engines puffed away into the approaching sunset. Their new friendship formed through the triumphs and struggles of the day's events.
The outer colonies never recovered. After saving humanity, the UNSC went back to try to take over our worlds, saying we were savages, when we were the ones being hunted by them. We're here to stop that.
Welcome. Project Renegade will be top of the insurgents. With that said, they will need to prove that in any situation they get themselves into, they will come out on top.
I remember black skies, the lightning all around me.
If you think you can't handle this, you might as well pull out now.
You can't just do this alone.
Who's next?
These renegades are a danger to us. They're giving these other colonies a reason to stand up against us.
Don't worry, we'll track them down.
I know you're a bit rough around the edges, but remember, this is your unit. You need to look out for them as much as you need to look out for yourself.
We're not the only ones here.
Raven, this is a team. We're fighting for freedom, but we must do it together.
Go, go, go!
Long ago, when Peter Sam was still called Stewart, and Sir Handel Falcon, they worked with Duke on his old railway, but Falcon still had a lot to learn. The manager came to see him.
Falcon, I'm pleased with your work so far. Now you must learn a difficult part of the line. We call it the Mountain Road.
Yes, please, sir.
So tomorrow, when you have a new coat of paint, you will go on it. Duke will explain everything.
Huh, thought Falcon. Duke's an old fusspot.
Next day came.
Listen,
warned Duke.
The mountain road is difficult. I'll lead.
No, replied Falcon. I'll lead. How can I learn the road with you lumbering ahead and blocking the view?
Suit yourself, but never mind the view. Look at the track.
The engine set off.
Look at the track. Never mind the view.
Fusspot, fusspot. Fuddy-duddy, 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 replied Falcon. The engine's speed grew slower and slower. Don't dawdle, urged Falcon.
No hurry,
puffed Duke. Soon, they approached a tunnel. Falcon didn't like the tunnel.
I want to get out.
One moment, everything seemed safe. But then suddenly... Falcon was derailed, hung dangerously over the edge. Duke bravely held on with all his strength.
Stop shaking,
he called.
I can't hold you if you shake.
Duke's driver and firemen worked quickly to make the two engines safe again. But then came more trouble.
Water!
Cried Duke's fireman.
Duke needs water quickly!
Luckily, there was a worker's cottage nearby. Soon, everyone was passing jugs, buckets, kettles, and saucepans filled with water until Duke's thirst was quenched. All the while, Duke was building up more strength. At last, with everyone's help, he was able to pull Falcon back on the rails. Then, they set off once more. The manager was waiting for them at the top station. He apologized for the accident.
Yo, Duke,
said the passengers,
is a hero. He stood firm like a bulldog and would not let go.
Falcon was grateful too.
Thank you for saving me, Duke. I don't know why you bothered after I'd been so rude.
Oh well,
replied Duke.
You just had a new coat of paint. Would have been a pity if you rolled down the mountain and spoiled it.